The inner belt in the southbound direction was closed down with at least one lane maybe still open. That was a good 20 to 30 minutes ago, so hopefully at this point that is back open for you. Otherwise, as you're getting ready to head out in the 7 o'clock hour, really getting into the heart of the commute, this is when you'll see more pounding on the roadways with all the rain that we've seen, and it's going to get heavier and heavier, unfortunately. If you can work from home or if you're retired, well, kudos to you, because I know a lot of people are not wanting to be on the roadways today. I'm going to guarantee you that this morning and this afternoon's commute most likely are definitely going to be affected by the weather. We're going to start with that, and we're going to continue to talk about Hurricane Beryl that's now weakened to a tropical storm. So that's the good news, but we're going to feel the remnants of that today. Let's go through that first before we get into the rest of the news of the day. And I'll be saying good morning to you and getting into our show, a very powerful, most likely emotional show today. Flood watch is in effect today. Now, the high today, 77, but heavy rain is the story. This is from our friends over at First Alert 4. We have a flood watch in effect from early this morning at 1 a.m. through tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And look at the number there on the bottom, 2 to 4 inches of rain possible. Could it be even more than that? Yes, it just all depends on whether this weakens. Now, as I mentioned, Hurricane Beryl has weakened to a tropical storm. It did its damage, though, as you know, all throughout. The latest was knocking out power to nearly 3 million in Texas. Could now, of course, cause heavy rain in our area, all throughout our area. I heard in House Springs that there was a lot of damage and a lot of people picking up in that area. Even some power outages we're already seeing throughout our area. So I would suggest that you go online and check for power outages to see if that is still affecting your area and just how long that may in fact happen. Heavy rain throughout the day, the afternoon, and into the early evening that could cancel tonight's Cardinals game against the Royals. Okay, let's give you this first. The flood watch, 77, so a little cooler. That's good news, but it's all about the rain today. 67 for the low. Tomorrow, there is still a slight chance, 20% of a spot shower with an 86 high, 69 for the low. And then Thursday, there's still rain carrying over, a 30% chance of a spot storm, 90. Friday looks good with regards to no rain, but look at the weather temperature starting to go up. 90 for a high on Friday. 93 on Saturday, and we've got St. Louis City SC and the Cardinals in action. Sunday's high, 96. It figures. That's when I finally decide to go to a Cardinal game again, and I'm going to get a hot day at that. It's an afternoon game on tap, and the 3 girls I'm taking, I don't think, want to sit in the hot weather, so I think we'll be walking around in the shade. Monday, though, look at that, 98. So hotter and hotter as we go into the weekend and into next week. Now, the cresting Mississippi River I want to tell you about. It's caused problems for boat operators, so a heads up to you near the downtown riverfront over the past few days. The riverboat cruises at the Gateway Arch have not been able to operate since July 5th, and that's, of course, due to the high water level, bringing the fast-moving currents, very dangerous conditions, large pieces of debris like we talked about yesterday with Beckett Moore. The U.S. Coast Guard has placed restrictions on recreational use of the Mississippi, though the Missouri River's been reopened since its closure last week. According to the National Weather Service, the river should drop below flood stage by Thursday or Friday of this week, likely not having a significant impact on the river levels subsiding, though, the incoming storms. St. Louis residents, I found out this morning, some are trapped in Jamaica working to find their way home as Hurricane Beryl ripped through the Caribbean. No food, no drinking water, or flights home for several St. Louis residents who are currently in Jamaica. And this is the hard part of this. The hotel they were staying at kicked them out. There were authorities in the area that got them back to the hotel because that was the safest spot for them. Then they were kicked out again. They are literally camped out at the airport waiting to see if they're going to make it home. There was a photographer, a wedding photographer, among those from our St. Louis area. So our thoughts and prayers going out to all of them. The next part of the news I want to get into happened yesterday. A train derailment. A train going from Kansas City to Chicago derailed just east of Washington, Missouri. It happened just before 5 p.m. near Old Highway 100 and Ming Drive, which is close to the Missouri River. A tree that was down on the tracks led to the derailment. Power was out on the train for a time, but it had been restored. There were 124 passengers and 5 crew members on board. Nobody injured. That's the good news. Crews worked to clear the track off the debris, but some passengers were interviewed and said they were stranded for up to 9 hours. They were taken by bus to their destination. They are all, of course, getting refunds, and I also heard they were going to get a $100 stipend for their troubles. I saw this news yesterday and I actually shared it on my social media pages with my thoughts and prayers and all of ours here on our team going out to the Boone County Assistant Fire Chief. This is such a sad story. He died during a swift water rescue operation early yesterday in North Columbia. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Matthew Tobin was rescuing two individuals from floodwaters when his boat capsized. The firefighters had rescued two individuals when the Zodiac boat overturned. Chief Tobin was thrown from the boat and drowned. He was assisting the Columbia Fire Department in a rescue operation and was in the boat with a Columbia firefighter. The city firefighter and the two individuals were able to be rescued. They are safe. Tobin had been a firefighter for 19 years, but had only worked as an assistant chief in Boone County for the last 2 months. Such a sad story, and thoughts and prayers going out to this true hero. Well, we've got a recall to tell you about of frozen chicken products. You might want to check your freezer for this one and do not eat these. More than 2,000 pounds of frozen, ready-to-eat chicken being recalled for possible listeria contamination. According to the USDA, routine testing found that the Al Safa halal chicken products could be contaminated with listeria. Now, no reports of illnesses. That's good news. But the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service says the recalled chicken should not be eaten. The products were produced in Canada and imported to retail stores across the United States back in June. Either throw it away or you can take it back to the store where you got it for a refund. All right, got a couple talker stories before we get into a quick sports story. Bar K, have you been there yet? It's the one in Soulard. There's also one in Kansas City and Oklahoma. The popular dog park, restaurant, event space has been named Best Dog Park in the country, according to USA Today's Reader Choice Awards. Nominees were submitted by a panel of experts, and USA Today's editors narrowed the field to 20 finalists. USA Today's readers took it from there, voting for their favorites through June 24th, and the winners were announced on July 3rd. Bar K, by the way, has been the industry leader in the emerging concept of dog bars since its first location. They opened on the shore of the Missouri River in downtown KC back in 2018. They opened in St. Louis back in 21 and Oklahoma City in 2023. I still haven't been there. Have you? Drop something in the comments and let me know if you've been there. I hear it's a blast. Whether you have a dog or you don't have a dog, it's just a fun place to go to. And now I bet you they'll get even more attention since this new nomination from USA Today. And then how about a 21-year-old mayor? Yes, I said a 21-year-old mayor, not in our area, but in Georgia. Brooke Huckabee, the mayor of Arabi, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's A-R-A-B-I, Arabi, Georgia, a town of just under 500 people. She's a college student studying agriculture technology at Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College. She works part-time at the Georgia Department of Agriculture, and she said, I quote, "I'd say that the one thing that really inspired me, it was just the lack of interest in all the people my age. They don't really care about politics, and it really inspired me to take the jump in and get a head start on it. The older generation is not always going to be around to handle the things for us," she said. While running for office, some citizens questioned her ability to lead at such a young age. And she said, how is someone supposed to gain any experience without putting themselves into the ring? By the way, her father was the previous mayor of the city and has served as her mentor since she took office back in January. All right, in sports news, the St. Louis Cardinals with a shutout win over Washington. The final score was 6-0. Again, they are supposed to play the Royals tonight, game time at 6:45. However, with the heavy rain we are expecting, I know a lot of the meteorologists this morning were saying it is unlikely that game will get in. So we'll probably maybe have to see a doubleheader tomorrow. We'll follow that, and we'll let you know, of course, tomorrow. Well, I really did believe that I was going to take probably a little bit longer to go through all that for you, but we're right at 7:10, which is when I want to normally get into our message of the day. So today's story, get out your Kleenex. I think this is going to be one that's going to probably make you tear up, but also make you appreciate the lives around you. And hopefully it'll make you say, I love you, and give hugs a little more today. The woman I have coming in lost her sister, her older sister. Her sister was 27 years old. And the last thing she tried to do was call 911 to try to get authorities to get to her, to get her out of this car that was speeding, reckless driving. The guy hit a curb and overturned. She was killed instantly. There were others injured in the accident. Her life taken too soon. And this has made its rounds on social media and in some news stories. Today is not about throwing hate, which was a lot of what I saw in social media over the last couple of months. Today, I want to honor a life gone too soon and a child left without a mother. That's the story today. Katie Langley, my guest, in the blue chair when we return.
The world needs to be more positive.
Yep.
You know, the world, and I'm spreading positivity with my air fresheners. So,
you and I both,
yes.
Sir.
Sadly, I wasn't aware of the Monica Adams show until recently, and was I missing out?
I'm definitely going to turn this on in the mornings on our TV.
She's helping people to understand their value. She's helping women to transform their lives.
From the minute that we walked in, I felt just really comfortable and at home here.
You are always a ray of sunshine and positivity.
Thank you for what you do. I love this whole thing that you're doing.
It's good news. It's great news. It's uplifting and empowering.
But you were engaged, and I love that. So thank you so much.
Well, I am so excited for one of our followers who won a 30-foot round above ground pool. That's right. They pulled the winner over the weekend. And I hope you went in and bought your raffle tickets, because even if you didn't win, you won in your heart, right? Because we gave 100% of the proceeds from this raffle to Tunnels for Towers and the ministry that helps to build beds for kids who don't even have a bed. Sleep in Heavenly Peace does that. There's other ones in the area that do as well. But I just want to thank Madonna and Shannon and Michelle and Tommy and the entire staff over at Just Pools. They joined us a couple of months ago as one of our sponsors. And I mean, look at that. That's what I've been talking about. You can have that in your backyard. You know, whether you get a chance to have friends over, family members over, or you just love to just get in it and immerse yourself in it in the hot weather that we have here in St. Louis summers. Just Pools, pool and spa specialist, 3987 West Outer Road South in Arnold, Missouri. Their phone number, 636-464-7110. And I mentioned they have 10% off of all the chemicals you need for your pool, as well as 30% off of all those fun toys that you have in the pool, the flotation devices, the big, huge noodles. I mean, I just bought a couple of those. You can use those in the pool or you can use those in the boat. But don't go anywhere else. Please support those that support us. Before we get into today's show, I've got something exciting that I want to pass along to you. We have our next Mobile Monica that is booked. Now, I don't have a time on this just yet, but at least put on your calendars, because a lot of people have asked me, when can I come out and have fun with you on another Mobile Monica? Well, that date is going to be August 8th. It's a Thursday. Put that down on your calendar, and we will, over the next several weeks, be giving you more and more information, because we just set that aside yesterday, but we're looking at the timing of it all. It's going to be at a place called Adventure Unknown. Super cool place that I just within the last few weeks had a chance to go and visit. And when I walked in, I thought, where am I escaping to? This place, I want you to look it up, and I will have Ashlyn post in the comments so that you can find out about this. So I'm talking about a place that is the community that you've been waiting for. The people who become members there at Adventure Unknown just really find their family. And it's a place where you can go, you can do like co-working space, where maybe that's where you want to go and work for the day. You want to have an opportunity to have meetings there. There's social functions there, and they have a travel component as well. But just the space alone is super cool. Now, guys who want to have like a little speakeasy feel, they want to have a cigar lounge, that little whiskey lounge. The girls have a lounge up front. They actually are going to change it around to be like the bubbles area, so Prosecco, some champagne. It's just stunningly beautiful, first of all, from an interior decorating mindset as you walk in, but then it's just the space. The thing I told them that I love, so Scott and Johanna Schusler, they are the owners. I told them I fell in love with it when I first walked in because it just felt so warm. They even have wine lockers there. I mean, yes, there's a part of it that just feels like so upscale, but then all of a sudden you walk in, and if you're a hunter, by the way, wait till you see what they have on the walls that they brought back from Africa. Yeah, these trips that they've gone on. Super, super cool. So it's called Adventure Unknown. We're going to be there, and I just want to get the community out for an introduction to the place. We're going to probably have some speakers there. We'll have some giveaways, a lot that we'll still be putting together. And still, again, the date, most likely later in the afternoon. Adventure Unknown. It's located in Fenton, Missouri. So look that up, and we'll pass that along to you. Okay, I tell you what I'm going to do, because a lot of you don't get a chance to see this in the early part of the show. I'm going to do our devotional early because our guest is still on her way. She got stuck in some of this traffic that I'm telling you about. She said it's insane. The weather, the rain in some areas, really, really heavy. In fact, I heard coming over from Edwardsville that it was a little heavier trying to come into it. So why don't we do 100 Days to Freedom? And I'm going to let Kelsey, who's in here with me, Kelsey, pick a color. What do you think? I'm not going to make you read. She just went, don't make me read. What color would you like? We did yellow yesterday. Purple. You know, that's chosen a lot, by the way. This is our friend Stephen Arterburn, 100 Days to Freedom, and this is from Fear and Anxiety, and that's something that I'm sure our guest who's going to be coming in probably felt after losing her sister and the whole family going through how do we go on, how do you move on past a loss, and such a sudden, horrific loss at that. So let's talk about this. Instead of doing it at the end, let's give it to you now. 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety. These are daily devotionals that we normally end our show with, but we're going to do this for you. It's called Forever Yours. The love of the Lord remains forever with those who fear him. His salvation extends to the children's children. By the way, this is Psalm 103, verse 17. Worst case scenarios are situations we imagine in which everything goes wrong. So think about this as we read this, about the theme of what the story is about today. We question if we turned off the stove or did we unplug the iron. We might even go back and check a few times. Well, this is interesting. My director, Zach, knows. I said, hey, I'm going to be a little bit later than I normally would come in because as I left, I closed the garage door and I got an error message about 5 minutes from my house, and I had to turn back around because the garage door opened itself back up, which means my garage door would have been left the whole time. So yes, a little fear and a little, do I continue on? Do I trust my neighborhood? I do trust my neighborhood, but nope, I went back and made sure that it was closed. We cannot control the unknown, right? We will overlook a detail or just be unaware of the trouble that arises in our life and experience disappointment. Does it seem like you'd experience less fear, less anxiety if you knew everything that's going to happen in your life before it does? Well, that's not going to happen, right? Maybe not. In God's grace and mercy, we see things of this life with limited vision. God has provided his word, his son, and his faithful followers who help us navigate the unknown parts of life. God's faithfulness to us is the greatest strength that we have no matter what we face. And as we walk with him, others will see and know that God is faithful. The promises of God are written throughout the pages of Scripture. Some are stated outright. Others are told in the stories of the people in the journey of their faith. The faithfulness of God is present in each promise. So is the love that he has for us. We need to remind ourselves daily of these promises and rest in his unchanging way. So George MacDonald said, anything big enough to occupy our minds is big enough to hang a prayer on. John Gordon said, no challenge can stop you if you have the courage to keep moving forward in the face of your greatest fears and your biggest challenges. So be courageous. And Amy Carmichael said, strength of my heart, I need not fail. Not mine to fear, but to obey, with such a leader who could quail. Thou art as thou wert yesterday. Strength of my heart, I rest in thee. Fulfill thy purposes through me. The prayer that I want you to think about and use throughout the day when your day feels like it gets off course. Lord, thank you for your faithfulness to me each day. Help me to know you are at work in my life, and he's at work for you every single day. I trust that you will fulfill your purposes for my life. Amen to that. I end every one of these with a devotional every day, and I actually was asked, and this is interesting for you all to know, I was asked 1.5 years ago when we started this, a little over a year ago, do I feel that I have to apologize for incorporating faith into my show? And I thought, apologize? No, I just want to put it out there. And if it's something you're ready for, wonderful. If you're not, then just know that you can come back at any given point, and that every one of us feels a different way of what's guiding us. But I think we all collectively know that there is a higher power, whatever your belief may be. So I hope you enjoyed that, just a little bit of different positioning of where we did it today. All right, my guest is here. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, Karlie Langley telling the story of the loss of her older sister, how you pick up the pieces after such a devastating loss and find purpose in pain, when we return.
When I started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution one product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
And, you know, I was thinking about Mike Lindell, and I'm thanking him again for being a part of our show, coming on with his wonderful products. People keep asking me about those dog beds. Yes, they truly are incredible, and I just sat there and smiled yesterday when I saw all the dogs wiped out on the dog bed. So I know you think about the MyPillow, and you think of pillows, and you think maybe of sheets and towels, but it's the dog beds that really have me lit up. So for those of you that have purchased already, let me know if your dog's loving it as much as my dogs have. Those are my favorites, the dog beds and the throws, and they're so much more inexpensive than what you find at your local pet stores. Don't forget to use the code MonicaAdams so that you can get that big discount online on MyPillow.com or on the phone number that you saw on the screen. All right, it is 7:22. Thank you again for being a part of our show. I do have Kelsey and Ashlyn, my interns, working hard behind the scenes. Kelsey, I want to make sure we haven't missed anything that I need to before I start the show. Are we all good? I'm pretty sure everybody's probably just saying good morning. And good morning. All right, any comments on any of the news stories that we did? Oh, so where do you get those books, and are they expensive? Debbie, no, they are not expensive at all. And I got them at the Crossing in Chesterfield. However, I think you can also find them online, on Amazon, etc. Stephen Arterburn is the author. And again, 100 Days to Freedom books. Yeah, they're really good. If there's anything else, comment-wise, Kelsey is in studio with us, and she'll let us know. I mentioned that my guest is Karlie Langley, and we, again, first want to say that our thoughts and prayers go out to not only Karlie, but the entire family and anybody whose life was affected by the loss of their loved one, Karlie Langley. So first of all, let me welcome my guest in. Thank you, Karlie, and I'm so sorry that you dealt with all the craziness on the roads, but it is, I mean, there's a lot of ponding, a lot of flooding. She can tell you just how bad it is out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You came in from Illinois?
Yeah, we left about 6, so we didn't get here until 7:20.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
So did you see a bunch of accidents?
There was one.
Yep.
But we didn't get to see the aftermath of it. We kind of just got off on the exit, but there was sirens, police everywhere. So.
Yeah. So be careful, folks. Again, we can't stress enough to slow it down. You might even find that there are some exits closed. I heard about Highway 70 and 55 in the city this morning that had some issues. And I do want to note at 9 a.m. this morning, 55 northbound at Rivas Barracks is closing down, which is not going to be fun with all of the storm that we're going to have later into today. So as she's telling you, she was just out in it. So please be careful. I cannot start without telling you how very, very sorry. I know I talked to you on the phone a couple of weeks ago, but I'm first of all so sorry for this horrific loss of your sister. And I know that anytime any of you, and as you listen this morning, understand that you'll hear yourself in this story. If you've lost someone so suddenly, you wonder, how can we pick up? And maybe you can drop in the comments to Karlie here live this morning what you've been able to do, who you've surrounded yourself with to try to get through this. One of the things that I talked to Karlie about was there's a lot of hate that was being thrown around social media. And I don't like giving power to negativity and hate. So that's not what this show is going to be about today. Instead, it is to honor, and we're going to go through some pictures, the life of a young girl whose life was taken way too soon. 27 years old. Her name's Karlie Langley. And what I want to know is, Katie, who was Karlie? Let's go back. And you have provided some really great pictures of you and her growing up together. Tell us the life of your dear sister.
Yeah, I mean, I first knew her as my sister, but she was my first friend. She's my nephew's mom. She's my mom's daughter, my dad's daughter, my brother's sister. She's a lot to everybody. So she was just a great person. Before she was Riot's mom, she was a mom of many spiders. She loves spiders. It's not something that I'm very interested in, but it's...
Did she have pet spiders?
Yeah, her
no,
tarantula
really?
just molted, so that was really exciting. I know she would have loved to see that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How old was she when she first saw that she liked spiders? Was it before you were born?
I would say, yeah.
So, and your difference in age is what, 3, 4?
Every 3.5, 4 years, yeah. So
Spiders, interesting. And we were looking at some of the pictures, and she just looks like a little princess. You're like a little princess with a little bad side to her.
Yeah, she wasn't scared of anything. That's her. She was not scared of anything. Spiders, snakes. She had a praying mantis. She had a couple of those. That was her.
But that's not you.
No.
You're like, keep those away from me.
Oh, each one of her spiders has its own little enclosure that she designed. Like, she's really into art. She loves stuff like that. So each one of her spiders has its own little cube of a room. The cutest thing ever. So before she was Riot's mom, she was a spider mom. She was a dog mom. She's just a very loving person.
And you were talking about art, and I was just researching for the last several weeks, and definitely all day yesterday. So she won an award for art. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, when she was just a little kid, I vaguely remember it, but it was for the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, the Maestro Award, and it was against like 20,000 participants.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
She was a finalist for that, and her artwork is still on display at our old middle school at High Mount. She touched a lot of lives. She got me into art. Art was her thing, but that was definitely something she was proud of. The cover photo on my page and like of the Justice for Karlie group, that's actually something she made.
Really?
The picture of her face close up, that's something that she made.
Self-portrait?
I took it from her page, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, once again, if you're just tuning in, this is Katie Langley, and we're talking about her sister, Karlie Langley. So the art aspect, are you still finding pieces maybe that she did? Because, you think about these musicians and artists that, are gone from the world, and all of a sudden all these things will be released that none of us ever heard or ever saw before. Are there pieces out there that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Her old art teachers, I know that she was really close with her art teachers at Belleville West, our high school. And then she went to Lindenwood for a while. She was close with a lot of her art teachers. I'm sure there's plenty out there. I've emailed a few of them. We've kind of been in contact, but there's stuff out there that I haven't even seen. I'm positive.
And you mentioned that the art is still up at your middle school. Did you say High Mount?
High Mount Elementary School, yeah. It's
Where's
in
that?
Swansea.
In Swansea, okay.
Yep.
So again, from the Illinois area, and we have to go back to move forward. So I do want to go back to the day. I don't want to stay in the pain too long, though. I really want to celebrate her life, and I also want the community to know what they can do to help the family. So her life was taken, and this is the thing that really bothered me, is that Katie and her family were the last, folks, I'm going to say it again, the last to find out that she was taken. This was back in May.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take us back to that night?
Yeah, I was actually at work, and I kind of just felt weird that day in general. It was just a weird day. I'm a manager at the place I work at, and I was kind of just like getting ready to leave for the day, getting all my stuff packed up. It was about 7:30, and I'd been trying to call Karlie. I'd been texting her. It was just a weird gut feeling, and I was texting her up until, I want to say, about like 7:38. She'd already been gone for over 3 hours at that point, and I was still just texting her and trying to get in contact with her, but I was sitting at my desk at work, and then so when my phone started blowing up from people that I don't talk to, people that I don't associate with, so I knew something was wrong because there'd be no other reason for them to be contacting me.
And you shared with me the text messages that you were sending to her, that you just wanted her to respond because everybody was so worried. Please just let us know that you're okay. And obviously every text message you sent, there was no answer and no answer.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, there's so much stuff going on in the area, just in general, like human trafficking and people going missing, and you never know. So I was like, Karlie, if there's something going on, if you're just in a mood, like whatever's going on, put it aside. Like, where are you? We need to know that you're safe. And she wouldn't hold out on me like that. I mean, she never did. Like, she would answer me for sure. So I knew that something was wrong. I just didn't know what yet. But my gut was telling me that there was something really wrong. I just didn't
Never to
really
that
believe
extent.
it. Oh, exactly. Yeah. I never could have expected that.
So, folks, she was going to work. And what time was she supposed to start work that day?
I think 4 o'clock.
At 4 o'clock, and she was taken to work by a person that Katie wishes that was not in her life. We all do, because if that person wasn't in her life, she'd still be here today. And one of the things I wanted to stress is the warning signs that you hear of your inner circle. And obviously, her sister, one of the closest people to her, but I'm sure you're not the only person that warned her to stay
No.
away from this person.
Absolutely not.
How long had you been warning her?
I didn't know that she had been around him to the extent that she had been up until probably about like mid-April. However, I knew that they were in the same circles probably 2 years ago. And I told her 2 years ago, he's bad news. Why are you hanging out with him? Because they took a selfie, posted it, whatever. And I seen that. And I was like, what are you doing hanging out with him? She's like, oh, we're just friends, whatever. And that was 2 years ago. I didn't think it was going on anymore. Thought maybe they just ran into each other, whatever. Didn't know they were as close as they were up until April. That's when I found out.
And I asked you on the phone whether they were dating or not. They were hanging.
Yeah, it's not something that she would have ever admitted to me. As far as I know, they weren't dating. That's not something that they titled it. As far as I know, she didn't tell any of the family about him. None of her friends. It was kind of like her little secret. And she didn't make the best decisions, but that's definitely the worst.
And that's the thing, folks. As you listen to Katie talk about this story, how many of you have been warned about someone that you're hanging with, that you're dating, that you're married to? Get out of the situation, because we don't want this that she's feeling, that her family is going through, to happen to you, because it happens, unfortunately. But if there's a life that we can save today by the words that Katie is saying, then we've done our job. And that's what this whole thing is about. This is what this show is about, is trying to bring some positivity, some light, some hope. If the pain that she and her family are going through can help you, please listen to the warning signs. Again, Karlie Langley, she was 23 years old.
I'm 27.
Oh, sorry, not,
She's
she's 27. You're 23 years old.
Yeah.
There she is, a beautiful picture of her. And she has a son that she was just mentioning, Katie's nephew, a 3-year-old Riot.
Riot.
So where's that name from?
She actually just thought of it after she gave birth. She didn't plan. She was thinking the entire time she was pregnant, like, what am I going to name this baby? She had a few picked out, and out of nowhere, she just came up with Riot.
And it's R-H-Y-E-T-T?
R-Y-E-T-T.
R-Y-E-T-T?
Yep.
Yeah. So I look at it and I'm like, is that right? Is it Rhett? I mean, everybody spells names so differently.
Yeah.
But we're looking at him right now, and that's really another, I mean, there's so many levels of this. Yet another difficult part of this is now this 3-year-old child is going to grow up without his mother. And that's just another horrible thing to be thinking about. I know his father is dealing with this as well. And one of the things that I heard in an interview that he did was that he grew up without a mother. Is that right? And he did not want that for his own son, and
Yeah.
now here he is.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing. Mark is such a great guy. Riot's dad is such a great dad, and he always has been since day one, and he's always just wanted the best for Riot, the best for Karlie. Even through everything, he wanted the best for Karlie. So he just wanted his family at the end of the day, and that's all he kept telling her and everyone else. And he was going to be with her through all of it, no matter what anyone thought. He was going to stay with Karlie because of what he went through growing up. He didn't have his mom in his life, and it's just not something he ever wanted for Riot. And it's just so unfortunate that so much was taken from them.
Oh, look, you just said she's always about the animals. There's a bunny in the picture.
Yeah.
It's, and you could go through this, would you not, Katie, of I just wish that those two could have stayed together, that this person that took her life would have never been put into her life.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gone through all those levels. That's the part of life where we do the what if.
Yeah.
But at some point we have to stop doing that, because you'll exhaust yourself.
Yeah, and Mark goes through it as well, because, I mean, they still live together, whether they were together romantically or not. Mark was so adamant about the fact that he wanted his family together. They still lived together. They were still in contact on a daily basis. No matter what, they were Riot's parents. So it's a whole nother level.
I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to speak for Karlie and for Riot because I want to know how that sweet 3-year-old has gone through what he's gone through over the last couple of months and how we can help him moving forward. There is a GoFundMe page. There's a way for the community to come together in all of this. We'll get through that. We'll look at your comments, any questions that you have when we return more with Katie Langley. Welcome back. We're going to pause here for a second and look at the comments because I want to make sure that Katie feels the love from a new community. And that's the thing. If the life of a young girl can be taken and then you see so much love of people that you never knew were around. I know that those of you that knew the Langley family, you've been there for them. But how about a whole new family that they didn't know existed that is there? Yes, please do us a favor and continue to do the hashtag Justice for Karlie because that's what we want so that you can check that out. And so that you can find what it is that you can do for the community. Debbie said, thank you for posting, Ashlyn, about the books from earlier. Yes, those can probably help you out sometimes. Many people are saying, so sorry for your loss, Katie, to you and to your entire family. Do us a favor and take this show and spread it far and wide. So a GoFundMe was created originally to help with the expenses for the funeral.
Yes.
But then anything beyond that is going to go to Riot, right?
Yes. Yeah, it goes straight to Riot. We're going to get Riot's estate together for him, and everything's going to go in there. And then once he turns 18, it'll be a nice little gift from Mom. So
I was checking on it. You had a goal of 15,000. I think you were at 11. Is that right?
Yeah.
The last time. Okay, so let's take that and let's blow it out of the water. That's what I know you can do. This community is so unbelievably giving, and so let's see that number go to 15,000. Go beyond that. Justice for Karlie. There's the GoFundMe where you can help out. Of course, Ashlyn will be putting those in the comments to make it easy for you to just click on as well. By the way, how do you and Ashlyn know each other?
We went to High Mount together. She was in Karlie's grade and Karlie's class and stuff.
Okay.
I remember Ashlyn playing soccer and stuff. That they were really good friends growing up.
And Ashlyn, for those of you that are new to our show, is one of my interns that we have from SIUE. She's the one that brought this to my attention because I didn't know about this story. One of the things I try to avoid is any negativity that's out there in our world and on the pages. And so when Katie and I had a chance to speak, I purposely stayed away from the negativity that was out there. But let's go there. There was a lot of hate that was thrown, which you would think that's impossible, that this family lost this wonderful human being, and why would there be anything but support? It should be only support. But a lot of hate from the people who knew the suspect, who is now awaiting sentencing. Is that correct?
Yep.
Because let's give the latest on that. I don't want to spend too much time on the person. I do believe Zach has some pictures of the suspect that was taken into custody. And one of the things that when you and I talked, it was, there he is. It was, why is he not in jail? Which is what the whole community was asking. Why did it take so long?
I know that they just wanted to be as thorough as possible, the investigation, and I wanted them to be as thorough as possible, and I was willing to wait as long as it took, but it was just the lack of remorse from Jake that I couldn't sleep at night. I was physically sick every single day. I mean, I still am, but nothing's going to bring my sister back, and I know that, and that's why I was willing to be patient and just let this play out, but man, I just could not believe the things that people said, and I still can't believe the things that people said.
Horrific things about your sister.
Yeah.
Hate-filled things.
Yeah.
Instead of this person, and by the way, I'm not giving his name because I don't think he even deserves that. that person that you saw on the screen took her sister's life. He was twice the legal limit. Over twice the legal limit when he was driving at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All that is what infuriated me, and was driving her to work, speeding, driving erratically. People around the car were calling into 911. And this is the part that's going to probably bring tears to your eyes. Karlie tried to get out of the car.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Karlie's been in multiple car accidents. It's just not something that whenever I heard that how fast they were going, I knew immediately. Before any details were even released, I emailed the chief of police the next day and I said, this needs to be investigated to the fullest extent. My sister would never be a passenger in a vehicle going that fast. So I was informed that she tried to call 911. I was informed she wanted out of the vehicle from witnesses who saw, and I believe it 1,000% because Karlie wouldn't even leave the driveway unless everybody had their seatbelt on. Like, it's not something she played about at all. Safety on the road, especially being a mother, once she had Riot, was even extended with her passion towards safety on the road after all the accidents she's been in. Once she became a mother, she's not someone who would even go 10 over the speed limit. So I know that she wanted out of that vehicle. People saw her want out of that vehicle, and it just breaks my heart that that's her biggest fear, and that's her last moments were a terror.
That's what I was just going to ask you. To think of that's the way she has to go when she had so much PTSD from past accidents she was in. She was in a car that flipped several times in one accident.
Yeah, hydroplane.
And then she had hurt herself and was on the way and was unfortunately struck. So she had PTSD already, and then she's in this car with this guy, and this is unfortunately how she ends her life. You actually, to try to lighten the mood for a second for you, you all called her Granny.
Yeah. Yeah,
because
that's
she
how
would drive so slow.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't play about safety on the road either, but sometimes I'd be like, Karlie, come on. Like, for real.
The bike just passed you.
Yeah, like, let's go. She's like, I
There's
have
a
a baby
walker
in the
just
back
passed
seat. I don't care. And I'm like, you know what? I don't. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's just how she was. So she did not play about that whatsoever. It was not something that. Once I heard it, I just knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I just knew there was more to the story. I just knew that it wasn't an accident. I knew that there was intention behind it because there's just no way she'd be willingly in the front seat of a car going that fast, erratically. It's just not her.
No, and I'm wondering, once she got in the car, if she smelled alcohol on him, that I wouldn't think she would want to stay in the car with him.
Right.
I don't know whether these are all the unknowns. This is what you just heard in the 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety we read, was the unknowns in life. That, what if she had gotten out, if the 911, if the police would have been able to come. But so he struck a curb, is that correct? And then the car flipped?
Yes.
And there were others that were injured also.
Yes. So the car flipped, and then I believe it hit 2 other vehicles. There was video of it. I didn't see it. I know that Mark's seen it himself, but
you don't need to see
Mark did a lot of the hard part for us because there was things that myself, my parents, my brother, we could not do. So Mark had to take on the burden of doing a lot of the hard stuff. And he said, Mark works on vehicles. Mark is a big car guy. And he said, what happened in that car is the worst possible thing that could ever happen in a car.
Well, and one of the hard things from, again, all the hate that was out there of people saying, oh, deal with it or get over it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You have a post that I thought was so powerful in the Justice for Karlie page that said, you tell me that you can be okay with 4 urns that are out there and not being able to even identify your sister. That's how horrible they said it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry for that.
Yeah. They called my mom. She's like, do I need to come down there? And they said, you don't want to see her. And they just kind of started to ask the details. Karlie didn't have her ID on her, but I mean, we all knew it was Karlie at this point, but they said, you don't want to see her. And then they started to ask about her tattoos. She had a big praying mantis tattoo on her, big purple alien. I mean, those are pretty unique tattoos. Not many people have them. So they asked about the tattoos. My mom said, yeah, that's her tattoos. And that was it. We didn't see her afterwards. When I was in St. Louis when it happened, and I know that the driver was taken to SLU, so I started calling around, like, do I need to come to SLU? Do I need to come to SLU? And then once I got a hold of my parents, they just said, we were told we don't want to see her.
How are you coping?
The best I can. I'd say Riot, my nephew, he helps a lot. I watch him a lot. That helps more than anything. I don't know what I would do without him. Just knowing that I have to be there for my family, just knowing that I have to be there for everybody helps me push through. But there are times where it's way too much and things are really hard still, but it's just one day at a time.
How is Riot doing?
It's confusing for him. He misses his mom like crazy, but there's still times where he looks at me and calls me mommy because we have the same face and the same voice. And I don't know if it's fully set in for him yet because I am kind of that placeholder for him right now. But it's just going to be a conversation that we have to have over and over again. And he still will pick up her picture frames around the house and carry them with him. And he'll set it up on the edge of the bathtub and have her watch him play with his bath toys, and he's still mommy, mommy, mommy all the time. Like, if I show him a picture of her, he knows who mommy is, but then there's times where he calls me mommy because he misses her so bad, and I know it's confusing for him, so.
Absolutely. He's only 3 years old. I mean, how do you compute that in your brain?
Yeah.
Right now, it's waiting for mommy to come back. Is she on a vacation? And where is she? Is she helping somebody? So that child's going to still expect his mother to come walking back in the door at some point until that sets in and it really makes sense to him that she's not. And for anybody that's lost someone and you've got a child that's been left behind, can you help this family, by the way? How do you even begin to tell that story? How do you get them to be able to go through this? And again, that's why I wanted to bring Katie on today, was to remember her sister, to get rid of the hate that's out there. We need to, by the way, the more the community comes together, more positivity that's out there, we eradicate the hate. We will rise above and they will drop down. And that's what needs to happen. And I hope that those who have thrown the shade and the hate at this family, that you realize what you've done, that you're going through your own demons, and that you find a path and you ask for forgiveness, that you say that you're sorry. As we mentioned in the beginning, and maybe you didn't hear this because I know a lot of people are tuning in every second, the way she found out, and I have to hope this, you and I talked about this on the phone, was a person that wouldn't normally get in touch with you. Was it through a Facebook Messenger
Yeah,
call?
it was a Facebook Messenger call, which is another red flag for me. I don't really use Facebook Messenger calls. And it was the driver's best friend and who he's always with, so I kind of just knew that this had to do something with my sister. I answered the call, and he just asked me twice, do you know where your sister's at? Do you know where your sister's at? I said, do you know where my sister's at? I said, I've been calling her for hours. I've been texting her for hours. Do you know where my sister's at? And he's like, okay, be for real. Do you really not know where she's at? I'm like, no, like, where is my sister? Can you just tell me where my sister? And he like interrupts me and he's like, your sister's expletive dead.
Folks, we're not going to say the word, but he said, effing, your sister's effing dead. That's how this girl found out about her sister being killed in an accident by this drunk driver, who, by the way, is a repeat offender, which I didn't say earlier, but that was the other thing that people were seeing. Oh, so now maybe he's awaiting, and you were like, no, this is for something years ago.
Yeah.
And it was over and over again, which is why she and others had tried to warn Karlie, this is bad news. This is not a good news person. The one thing that I saw in some news articles that were done were that he's suffering.
Oh, yeah.
That his kneecap had to be replaced.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Poor guy. Yeah.
But no, at all, remorse.
No. He thinks it's funny. Like,
I don't understand him. Like, again, what goes into that? I think that's the biggest thing in my life. And when I'm no longer here and I have a discussion with God, I'm going to ask those questions of, how are there so many people in this world that could be so hate-filled and be so far off of a path? Where in the world does that come from? I have to pray for you, and I'm not going to say your name. I have to pray for you. You know who you are. If you see this, please, at some point in life, understand what you've done and get yourself well. While you're in jail, get yourself well. And at some point, say you're sorry to her, to the entire family, to that young boy who no longer has a mother, that has to go through life without a mother. All of these things should not have happened, and it's all because of choices that were made by you. That's what I want to stress. And there's a woman that reached out to you from Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I saw in one of the posts. There's a lot of a community that's out there for you, Katie. I hope you understand that. There's a lot of love for your sister, and you have felt that, but I hope that even more come from today's show. So, finding purpose in pain. We all have to sit there and question why. Why can't I have my big sister around anymore? I know it's going to take a long, long time, but is there something that you have felt in the last couple of months that you feel that you can do moving forward that will honor her?
Honestly, just to keep going and to just make sure that her son knows what a great person she was. I mean, he did know what a great person she was. He loves his mom so much, but to just keep her memory alive and to just keep going. I mean, I see signs of her all the time. Seeing a butterfly at the botanical gardens, I'll let me pick it up on my finger. Songs in the car. Riot's favorite song is "Life Is a Highway," and I was sitting there asking Siri over and over again. I was like, "Siri, play "Life Is a Highway," and service wasn't working, and then I'd just flip over to FM radio, and
there it was.
5 seconds into like another song ending, "Life Is a Highway" starts playing, and Riot's singing and dancing in the back seat. Like, she's everywhere, and I know that. Signs of her everywhere. I see them all the time. I have dream after dream after dream about her. She talks to me all the time. Like, I feel like she's still here. I know that she's still here. It's just really hard not being able to talk to her.
Absolutely. And again, I can't say it enough. I'm so sorry that you have lost your sister at such a young age. I was going to ask you that because some people seek out those that are no longer with us. And sometimes in the beginning, they're there a lot. And then you get frustrated and you get upset and you go through this bevy of emotions of, well, why can't you come and talk to me? Why can't you give me a vision, right? But I'm glad to hear that she's already, because if you believe, as Katie just said she does, they are around. And when we see the butterflies, that is a vision of them. What is she saying to you right now? What is the biggest message that you feel that you're hearing from her?
I just know that she's so sorry, and it's hard because I had to waste our last conversations talking about the driver and stay away from him and giving her tough love and not being able to tell her how much I love her and having to be that person to say, like, hey, like, knock it off and give her tough love when I know she just needed a hug, and I did. Last time I seen her, I gave her a big hug, but just hard.
And you feel that she is saying, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you.
Yeah, I know that she's sorry. I know that she would hate the way that this all turned out. I know that she would, and I know she would have so many regrets about the way things played out, and I know that she wished she would have just listened to me, and I hate to be like, I told you so, because it's how me and her always were, is just sisters. We were sisters, so...
Sisters, best friends, and Katie just said something that I think is really powerful. She was able to give her a hug. One of her posts said, I just wish I could hug you again. Did you say that maybe in life you only hugged 4 times?
We were not like the huggy type. We're not touchy-feely. That's never how we were. And then the last time that we did see each other, it was because my boyfriend was hanging out with Mark at the shop that Mark works at, and Mark and my boyfriend kept giving each other hugs, so they were really good friends. And me and Karlie were like poking fun at them, making fun of them. And then she's like, "Should we hug?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's hug." And we gave each other a big hug. And then, like, after we gave each other a hug, she was laughing. She's like, "Bro, that's probably only the 4th time we've ever hugged in our life." But it was so funny, and it was just, what are the odds? What are the odds that the last time I ever see my sister in person, we give each other a big old hug, and it's just not something that we ever just give me a hug, and it just.
God wanted that for you.
I'm very glad that I got to see her, and my brother's seen her the Saturday before, and I talked to her the Sunday before, but it wasn't the best conversation. But I mean, I could tell she was listening to me. It's just she was very much a fixer, and she wants to be there for people. And I was like, Karlie, this is just not the one.
So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want you to think about this, Katie, for those that are watching. And I know one of the things that Karlie would want for us is try to save lives moving forward. Let's think about what we can say to those people, 1, that are with someone that they don't belong with, and then 2, the message that we try to hammer in every single day is for those of you that are with people that you deeply love, but you're not telling them, you're not doing the hugs, you are not aware of the blessings that you have around you. We're going to try to get you to hug more today. We're going to try to tell you to say I love you more, and as much as you can, because we never know when we walk out the door if that's the last moment.
Exactly.
Here she is, able to tell
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
that that's exactly the feeling and the life that she's living. More with Katie Langley when we return.
Come on, Monica. Let's go, St. Louis. Turn and burn.
Hello, Miss Monica.
Monica.
This is a good one. Sometimes you spend like 10 years and you don't got one like this.
Monica.
It's a feast. It's like a 17-course meal. You just like, you need a minute. With wine, with a wine pairing and a whiskey pairing.
That is what. There it is.
I think I just had the most beautiful experience. I saw fireworks.
Thank you, Monica, for making our day.
Welcome back, 7:56. Once again, if you are just tuning in this late, you have to go back and listen to this interview with Katie Langley, again, telling the story about her sister, Karlie, and justice for Karlie is the hashtag that I want you to follow. So many people saying, so devastating for this to happen, period. But then the fact there's people going after Karlie's family and support circle is disgusting. Absolutely. The community is speaking out. Mary Kay says, I love you, Katie. Prayers go out to you and your family. God's blessings to you and your family. I am so sorry for your loss. So hard to lose a sibling. Sending prayers for your family. My heart goes out to you all. You're going to see this over and over. Once again, Zach, if we can put on the screen before we wrap up today how you can donate. There you go. There's the GoFundMe, and Ashlyn's done a wonderful job posting that for you as well so that you can help out. Again, they already had the service, but now all the money hereafter is for young Riot, only 3 years old. And let's make sure that he has an incredible life, that he always remembers the wonderful mother that he had, that he'll see in pictures. He won't be able to grow up with her, all those wonderful things in life that your kids get to do with you. He doesn't get to. His life was taken too soon. And so right now, that person that I choose not to give a name to is in jail.
Mm-hmm.
The 40 days that a lot of the community was saying, how in the heck can he be out to possibly do this again? Because that's a lot of time to be drinking and driving and just driving erratically and not caring about his life or others. Finally in jail without being able to get out, correct?
Yeah. Bond was denied for him. I know that he was trying to get on house arrest because he's in so much pain and he's just hurting so bad. So he was trying to get on house arrest, but the judge denied it, thankfully, which we were really happy about that decision. But
and what are the next steps? Where is the investigation and everything right now? Is awaiting sentencing?
Awaiting sentencing. I believe the next time we'll see him in court is August. I don't know exactly when, but I just know that he will sit in jail until then, which he was trying to get out on.
Yeah.
House arrest because he said that he wasn't receiving adequate medical attention in jail, but then state's attorney was like,
we can take care of that.
We could take care of that, and there's inmates who have been hurt far worse than you.
Right. So I know nothing can bring her back, but what do you want for his sentencing? Life?
The furthest extent possible. The furthest extent possible, whatever can be tacked on, whatever could be stacked, the furthest extent possible.
And I went to the break saying, what two things can we leave? One is all of you that have the blessings around you, what would you tell them to do on a daily basis?
To take it in and to not take it for granted. And I know sometimes life gets in the way and things get so busy and everybody has jobs and things get kind of crazy, but make time. Make time. Me and Karlie are supposed to go see the Jonas Brothers for my birthday in August, and I was like, if I can get off of work, I'm trying to. But like,
I think she would want you to go.
She would want me to go, and I just feel bad because when she asked me, I was like, well, I'd have to try to get off work. She's like, if it's too much of a hassle, don't worry about it. And now it's like, if she was to come ask me, I'd be like, yeah, let's go to Jonas Brothers. Like, man. So just don't take things for granted. And for anyone out there that is as hard-headed as my sister or as stubborn as Karlie, I mean, if someone's telling you, someone that cares about you, especially someone like your sister, your baby sister, who looks up to you and who has known you your entire life, and they're telling you, like, hey, you need to think about what you're doing, you need to prioritize right, you need to prioritize yourself, get away from this person, you should probably listen to whoever is in your circle telling you that. If someone's telling you they have a bad feeling about someone, they're not trying to down you or make you feel bad about yourself, anything like that. It's because they want the best for you, and intuition is usually spot on.
And unfortunately, really bad things in life have to happen for others to wake up. And I hope what she just said does that for you. I know you didn't do it a lot with her, but can we have a hug for Karlie?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten a lot better at giving hugs.
See? And that's something else that we all have to learn.
I've got a little bit more out of my shell.
If you're not necessarily a huggy, touchy person, maybe you become it. And maybe that's what Karlie gets us to do moving forward. Hug more. Be kind more. Katie, thank you for telling her story. Thank you for sharing a little bit of Karlie with us in this world.
Yeah.
And to all of you, that is what we can do moving forward to honor her, is to do the greatest thing that I ask at the end of every show, and that is to be kinder human beings. If you are in a dark, dark place, surround yourself with people who will lift you out of it. Those that were doing the hate-filled things, I hope it's less. I hope you are not feeling as much of it.
I've been blocking it out.
Good.
Everybody's been blocked, and
Good.
I've just been trying to block it out as much as possible. I'm sure there's still some corner of the internet where they're still going on, but I have not been paying it any mind. I've been trying to stay kind of off my phone the last few days.
Good.
So,
because they don't deserve power. And that's the hardest thing. I know a lot of people say, well, they're hurting me. Yep, so just keep blocking. Do everything that Katie and her family are doing, because you don't need to see that. I hope more rise to the top with this hashtag Justice for Karlie, so that she can see more and more brand new faces and brand new love in their life that are there for this family. And again, let's help out young Riot and Katie. And you said you have a brother as well?
yeah, my
What's his
brother,
name?
Travis.
Travis as well, and then your parents and anybody who loved this wonderful person. We now know a little bit about Karlie, but let's continue to follow where this all plays out and the love that the community has for her. Karlie Langley, March 31st, 1997, May 2nd, 2024, taken way too soon. For Karlie up in heaven, continue to guide this wonderful soul in my studio right now. Talk to Katie. Make her go to that Jonas Brothers concert. And God bless you, Karlie. I'm so sorry your life is no longer here, but we'll do everything we can to honor you. Everybody, hear the message. Please show kindness more and more people in this world, and let's find some kind of purpose in that pain. God bless you, and God bless you.